Wavesound Audiobooks presents The Last McAdam by Holly Ford, narrated by Diane Weller. Chapter 1. I don't really think you should turn up at a wedding alone, Tess. What will people think? The memory of her mother's advice echoing in her head, Tess shifted in her plastic chair, trying to focus on the familiar figure wedged into a morning suit at the top of the aisle, and not on the eyes of the strangers around her. Beyond the shade of the awnings, the summer sun was beating down on the lawn with barely a whisper of wind to disturb it. The only whispering she could hear was coming from the other guests. Don't be silly, Tess told herself. Just because they were talking didn't mean they were talking about her. Just because she was sitting here by herself and nobody but the groom seemed to know who she was. Shrugging off paranoia, Tess looked again at the man who'd invited her here. She'd first seen Ash Ferguson in a bedroom doorway 11 years ago. His ruggedly handsome face, one of the primary reasons, if she was being honest, Tess had decided to take the room on offer in the gracefully rotting student flat. In the 3 years that followed, he'd become her friend, her classmate, and, in a brief but memorable end to their final semester, her boyfriend. Now here she was, finally on the family farm she'd heard so much about, looking up at the big Gothic homestead she'd come close to visiting so many times. Somehow they'd never quite made it there, she and Ash. Tess suppressed a wistful sigh. He looked good in a suit. Who'd have thought? The last time she'd met up with him had been in an airport bar 18 months ago, on his way home from a ranch job in South America, looking every inch the farm boy he'd always been. And between then and now, Ash Ferguson had met the person he wanted to spend his life with. What must that have been like, Tess wondered. Surveying the rows of guests on the lawn, Ash's eyes met hers. Tess smiled. He looked so happy. Not nervous at all, just totally sure. Like he was about to marry the woman of his dreams. As he shot her a grin and turned back to the celebrant, Tess couldn't help but reflect that over the same 18 months her own dreams had revolved almost entirely around milk tankers and effluent ponds. She smiled again to herself this time, and she wondered why she was single. Feeling bolder, Tess turned in her chair and scanned the rows behind her, looking for a familiar face. She'd been hoping some of their other old flatmates might be there. Instead, she found herself caught in the smile of a guy across the aisle. Pointedly, Tess turned away again. She hadn't come here to pick anyone up. Just because she was a single girl at a wedding didn't mean she was desperate enough to sleep with the first guy who hit on her. Even if he was cute as hell.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?